the managing director of Maziko Construction Company. He's a life coach, he's a husband, he's a father, he's so many things to so many people. He's actually my own coach as well. And guys, for this one, I would like all of us to stand and be clapping hands as we walk into the stage. Bold and bold. Man spoke for meaning. That will be the KUHeS presentation. You want to find meaning in life? This is the man for the job. That will bring you experience. Let's have a look.
I think you may have our seats. Thank you.
All right. Good morning. Such a humbling experience to be here. But again, in a special way, recognizing the guest of honor, Mr. Dunga, who I've listened to speak in different forums, because I sit on the other side, so he hasn't known me that I'm a follower, like that secret follower who was following Jesus Christ. Certain people come at night, so I'm that guy. But at the same time, again, Dr. Alice, I think we are meeting for the first time in a forum of this nature. Thank you. You are doing a great and amazing work. Let's clap hands for this woman. At the same time, I think Mr. Dunga is humble. What he has achieved and done was just trying to be humble here. He's an amazing man. So to me, it's an honor to be, in the middle of these wonderful people. But again, by the way, I have your book on my desk. It's also being read, so thank you so much for that. I missed you also because you've given the free ones. I will get the free ones. All right. But again, I don't know other people that are here, but I know that Dr. Chungamo is here, who is also a writer, author. If you haven't gotten his book, are you giving for free? Okay. He's not giving his for free, but an amazing guy as well. I have Mr. Hope. This man and me are twinning now. I'll be here on the 31st of this March to the launch of his book. So let's clap hands for this. It's going to be in the evening. It will take place at Golden Peacock. So I'll also be speaking briefly about his book. I'm an author, so it's nice to be in the midst of a number of authors. So God bless you. God bless you, and thanks for coming to honor this session. Again, appreciating what you guys are doing at Efaction. There are certain people it's difficult to mentor. This guy is a difficult one. If he calls you and he's asking for mentorship, it's difficult. Because it makes you have to dig deep in yourself to bring the best to feed such type of souls. Such a wonderful, wonderful soul. Let's grab on for And I've received phone calls from here, again, from some of the people that have, Pastor John and a few other people in the house that trouble you. They want to learn something, and it's always a privilege to speak to you. I don't always have the time, but when we get the time, we talk. So thank you for keeping us troubled and keeping us digging, reading, so that we can have something to share with you. For the sponsors of this event, you have partnered with something of value, and you've done a great choice. Being part of this thing and supporting this event is something of value. Because we are talking to the young people. There are two groups of people that I've been talking to recently and finding myself interested in those groups. It's the young and the very old. An interesting conversation is when you talk to a 60-year-old at retirement or about to retire, or 55-year-old who is at 5 years before they retire. It's an interesting conversation. And I've had some in my coaching sessions of hard conversations with people of that nature. Some of them will break and cry before you. They say, I wish I had time. Are you with me? Yes. Yeah, I've seen men cry. Women cry. Saying, I wish I had time. But you have time. You understand that? You don't need to say that at 60. You have time. Because you're young, fresh, energetic, you can do so much with the time. Whatever I say is amazing because it just means now you can go and find that little garden and say, Mama, I'm taking this. I'm bringing macadamia here. Because you already have the maths, isn't it? You already have the maths. You can plan like what our sister, Dr. Alice has talked to us. Have a plan. And if you start failing now and you lose 200 chickens today, at least you have more time to deal with it, isn't it? Isn't it? By the way, you didn't tell us your age. You promised that I would do
I'm 44.
You see? So, some of you are at a point when you can lose the chickens and start all over again. Lose, start all over again. You understand that? Yeah. Until you get it right and say, now this is the point. So the opportunities that are granted to us, I think one of the greatest of them as a resource is the time. And so it's always a privilege to talk to those that still have time, and it's an amazing one. So what I will do is that they have done justice to even my talk, both of them, and therefore I won't complain. We're supposed to have 1 hour, 30 minutes. I only have 1 hour, so I'm not going to complain. I'll use 1 hour. What I've learned nowadays talking to people is that I respected the finishing time. Yeah. Because I've tried to help people with the starting time, but people don't start always in time. All right? Efaction should change. But I'm respecting finishing time. You understand that? So even if I had 15 minutes, I will still stop at 12. Because I respect you, I respect what you planned after 12 o'clock. Just the same way I respect what I planned for after 12. So, but they've done a good job, so my 30 minutes has already been sorted out. So thank you so much for the good work. Great, how do we start? Let me talk about those two gentlemen. Those two gentlemen are going to shorten. There were slides before their names came in. I prepared this some time back, but when their stories came into my life, I removed the slides and put them there because these guys are feeding all my slides that I had put in those places. And even if I would just speak about these two people, possibly it will be the end of the meeting and I would be able to go. Okay, because these ones have helped me to speak my story. It's a real story. And by the way, yesterday I had a privilege of talking to both of them and asked them if I can share their stories. And they all gave me permission that I can share with you. Okay, so you must understand that I'm sharing with full knowledge. So if it's going to be on NBC or wherever, it's going to be with their permission. And again, by the way, Mr. Dunga, I knew there's going to be NBC. That's why I had to put on the suit. Otherwise, I was going to come with my overalls and my work suits and everything. All right. Henderson's story, just briefly let me give you a bit about that. About me, by the way, all of them told you about themselves. I'm Cornelius Huwa. I was once here. All right? So I'm a medical doctor by training. My doctorate is not the PhD doctorate kind of. No, I'm a medical doctor. I did 2 masters and they stopped. But I think I plan to go back to school. It's a bit like Dr. Alice, isn't it? Yeah. Yes. I don't look down upon school. So you are motivating me. Maybe if you do the men's fill my cup thing, I think we are coming in, all right? So this story starts on Saturday last week. Saturday, a young man by the name Henderson left the campus at Bunda College of Agriculture. And he was going to town. He didn't know where he was going. He was going to town. and he stopped by Partners in Hope. He dropped off the minibus. He didn't even know what he was doing. He had reached the end of his life. He thought the best he could do was to take up his life. So the reason he left his place was because where he was, there were lots of things happening in his head. And so he said, the more I stay here, I will entertain a bad thought. I'll end up hanging myself. So let me just take a bus and go to town. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then from there, when he dropped off the bus, he didn't know where he was going, and said, oh, there's a church here. So he went there and knocked there and said, look, I want to meet the pastor. So she met some of the women in that place. Said, no, the pastor's not here, but he's going to be there tomorrow. He said, but then I want you to pray for me. So these women came together and prayed for Henderson. But they said, but you still need to come tomorrow to meet the pastor. So meaning Sunday. And then, he said, fine, thanks for prayers. And the following day, which was Sunday, he came to church. And so, by the way, the other thing that he didn't tell you, I'm a pastor as well. You see how many things. And so the pastor is me, and then I meet Henderson at the end of the service. And at that point, Henderson tells me briefly about his story. But the way I was seeing the story, I said, Henderson, I think we may not be able to have the time now. So I'm going to get your number. I'm going to pray for you. But I would like to call you later in the evening. I said, fine, that's fine. So we left each other. He went back to the campus, and I remained there. So I finished talking to other people. I went back home. Around 4 or so in the evening, in the afternoon of Sunday, I called Henderson. I said, look, how are you doing? I'm okay. And then I said, look, tell me the detail of your story. So I was asking him a number of questions, and he told me a number of things. And I said, but you see, we talked for 45 or so minutes. No, Henderson, I need to come and see you. This story, I can't hear it on the phone. So I want to come sit down and talk to you. And so I said I'll come on Wednesday afternoon. He also had time. He didn't have classes in the afternoon of Wednesday. And so he said, you're going to come. So I went to meet Henderson on Sunday, on Wednesday at 3, at 2, around 2-ish. But before I went there, I wrote one of the young men that I coach and mentor. His name is Elvin. And so Elvin said, oh, sure, coach, I'm going to be with you. I can escort you. I said, yeah, I wanted you to come with me. I'm talking to somebody else, but I think you may be of great help in that space. So I said, good, I'll come with you. So I went with Elvin to Bunda. So we went together, and then I met him by the gate, and I said, no, but I want to see where you are staying. So we have to drive to your place, and we sit there and talk. Well, I didn't feel uncomfortable, but he said, okay, that's fine, we can go. And then he allowed us to go to his place. So we went into his place, a humble place, and we sat down there, and I said, talk to us. Because I want Evan to hear your story. I've heard part of it, but Evan should also hear your story. And so this is the story of Henderson. So Henderson is second born of 6. He's second born in a family of 6 kids. His father was involved in an accident in 2009. He lost one of his limbs, and part of his physique doesn't work well, so obviously he's not as functional. So he ended up being bound at home. And so the mother, growing old, not able to do a number of things, so obviously somebody else has to rise up in the family to take care of things. And so his elder brother, and behavior-wise, was not suitable in terms of the things that were required by the family. And so Henderson, by whatever means, ended up taking up responsibility as a family man. So he became, at that level, like a breadwinner of the house. So he was the one bringing food and everything else and helping his brothers and other people. His 2 sisters after him have since gotten married, went out. And then what happened is, later on, he was doing small works, and he had done Form 4, but he didn't go to, he did Form 4, he did some work at Polytechnic, diploma, IT, something like that. He went back to start working, and most of the work that he's been doing is teaching. So he's been teaching in different private secondary schools. But then he realized that he had been, sending a lot of kids to college. He himself hasn't had a degree. So he said, look, I'm going to sit for MSCE again. So he sat for MSCE and he got 12 points. And then he applied and he was picked at Bunda campus. And so he was picked to do agriculture engineering. So this is an agriculture engineering student. But remember, Henderson has already started taking care of his family. And so, to be a student, he needs to continue to still provide home. And so, Henderson is continuing. He had to move from being a teacher and teaching and doing these other things and become an entrepreneur. So he started doing some businesses. He had a bit of money here and there, and then he bought some motorcycles that were on the roads, some bicycles that were on the roads. He had 4 motorcycles, and one was stolen. The other one was involved in an accident beyond repair. He made with 2. For the bicycles, he lost 3. Wanted to put things together in terms of his business, so he also had to find some money from some place with a larger interest. He put the money into the business. Business is moving. He's paying back the money. And then later on, he had sent some people to buy some stuff where he was getting some stuff. On their way back, they were robbed. So some thugs, cut these guys up. Everything was taken away. And so it was for him a big break, because at that point, he doesn't have, now the capital has been taken into, and remember, part of this capital is a loan. And so, he's failing to see how do I deal with the person. The person is pressing on him to pay him back. And the rentals were due for the shop. He can't pay the rentals. So life is becoming difficult. The goods he had in the shop are dwindling. And then, because there's also eating and all that from there, he's supposed to use that. And so he was pressed down because the guy whom he took the money from wanted to take him to police. And so he had been running away, but things were tough. So at the point that we are meeting Henderson, he's been at that point where now life is meaningless. He just feels like I should take my life. Because my home, people are waiting for me, and I can't manage my school because I need to eat, I need to pay for rentals and everything else. All these things brought confusion. And Henderson was at the brink of destruction. He was about to commit suicide. He said, I've been entertaining these thoughts in my mind. And so, after Henderson, and I've cut a couple of things, but the main things I've told you. And so, and as Henderson is speaking, we are all feeling it. We are all fighting our tears. We are trying to, find the right way. But then when he finished, I said, look, Henderson, I've heard you. I don't think I am in a way better position to respond to your issues, because possibly I may not be sharing much in terms of what you've gone through as a person. I may not share your story. But I don't know, but Elvin may speak to you. Now, Elvin is 23 years old. Elvin is 23 years old. Well, Elvin, because I knew his story, so I knew he would be a good person to speak to Henderson. And Elvin starts speaking and say, well, he quoted the scripture, Matthew chapter 25, the story of the talents. 5, 2, and 1. And so after speaking from there, he says, well, this is my story. At the age of 16, I had the privilege of going to college, African Bible College, to study business administration. And so first year in college, there's a struggle to get money from home for paying school fees, but we managed to get by, and then first year was done. When we were getting into second year, my father called me and said, Chimwene, come back home. We can't do it. We can't pay fees. We can't manage to sustain home. Please, just come. It was a breaking time for Elvin because he's 17 years old. and he's saying, look, if I go back home, what's the future for me? This is the only hope I have. And so Elvin tells his father, said, Dad, I'm not going to come yet. I know they're pressing on me here at the administration, but I'll find a way. So, are you okay? I said, I'm going to find a way, but just pray for me, and all that. When it's really worse, I'll come. But you just see me walking. But I will try. And so Elvin registers in the guarding service of the school as a guard. So at the age of 17, Elvin is a student and a guard. This is a true story. And so he starts guarding at night, and during the day he goes to class. And so he has the hours that he's spending at night and the hours allocated for this payment were not enough. So he went to the supervisor and said, can you allocate me some of the day hours too? When I'm off class, I can come to the gate and man the gate. You're a student at the school, but you're also the guard at the school. Your friends are passing by you in and passing by you out. You're a student in that school. And so, Evan goes all the way the 4th year and finishes his school. Whoa, good news, isn't it? Now, Elvin, because of the challenges he had in school, the first computer he had and the phone he had to sell somehow. So he said, look, I had no choice. At some point I was pressed and ended up selling. But I put a price and then it seems the price was a bit good and then somebody bought. I said, I think this looks good. So why can't I go and buy another laptop and then find the market too? And that's how Elvin became a businessman in electronics. As I'm talking to you today, he sells laptops and phones a lot. He orders and his first capital was his own laptop and his own phone. Because the guarding money was going to his education. And so he's moving like that. And, he says to his parents after graduating, he said, I'm not going to come home. I found a place where I'll be staying because I just want to continue building from it. So they allowed him. But later on, his father called him. He's 20 years old and his father calls him back home and says, look, things are not okay yet. We need you to be around you so that you can take care of the things. He had gone through a lot of trouble because it seems at some point he was well off, but things went a little south, and then he wasn't doing well, and he got a little more depressed. So Elvin comes home, and when Elvin comes home, things are not okay. He's going to try to push things and make sure that things work. Pusher. He's a pusher, this guy. And then his father says, look, I am not okay staying here. I found another place somewhere else. I'll be staying there, but you can continue to stay with your mother and your siblings here. So the father somehow isolated himself and went to someplace else. A year later, at the age of 21, his father committed suicide. So Elvin is the firstborn in this family, and is going to be the father of 3 other siblings that he has, and look after his mother. And at that point, life is hard. But he's the only man. So he has to go pick the body of his father. For all the police staff and all the hospital staff done, he has to find a coffin, take his father to bury him at the village. And when you're going there, all the parents of the father and all that also are also stranded. So who's going to take care of them? Elvin. Now, as Elvin is speaking in this, Henderson is on the other side. And you know what's happening? Elvin starts crying. Henderson starts crying. He's looking at the story of his friend and look at his own and say, no way. My brother. No, you have seen it. You understand? He says, no. At the age of 23 now, so his father passed away about 2 years or so. He's 23. They say, oh, he has a mind of a grown-up person. And I chat with this guy like I'm chatting with my agent. He's so solid and mature. I was driving with him. We were going to go diving on our way back. He was on the phone making contacts, talking to people that are doing business with him. And something else, as we were going, he tells me one of my areas of interest, because he's also going into agriculture, he's doing some farming. But I mean, he has a shop. He's never worked. After his degree, he's just continued with his business. As an entrepreneur, he's continued. So he's doing business. He has a shop. Sometimes he leaves somebody, sometimes he's there. But he sells his computers and other gadgets. And then he's telling me, one of the things, so he was talking about the agriculture he has started and said, what I'm now looking at is to have a warehouse, because my thinking is I should be doing both farming and buying of agro-based commodities, but I need a place where I should be keeping them. So his interest is in soy, maize, and groundnuts. He's 23 years old, but he's an accomplished entrepreneur. Life didn't throw him the very same chances it has thrown to so many others. He didn't have the privilege of being a child. You understand that? He didn't have the privilege of being young because he was forced to be a grown-up person by the age of 17. What were you doing at 17? Playing video games? He doesn't have that. That had been snatched away from him because he had to be a guard at night. When at night you are watching football, he's not watching football. At night, he's guarding, he's at work. 17, 18, 19. These are some of the wonderful stages of life and age. You're young and fresh and everything is going on all right and all that. Do you think he even has time to go on Facebook and put a picture? Which picture is he going to put? The one in class or the one at the gate? Are you hearing what I'm trying to say? So it doesn't even have... So life has thrown things to him that he has no privileges to enjoy just like everyone else. Time. And at 23, he's sitting on the other side to talk to another friend who needs that encouragement. And that encouragement is given to Henderson. Henderson breaks down, and at the end, I added a few things, but I think Elvin did a great job to Henderson. And we prayed there, and we said, now this is what you're going to do. You're going to sit down and write down all these challenges you have, all the debts you have and everything else. So Henderson had written that. By Thursday, he had sent us a list, and me and Elvin were working together to help Henderson, because there are certain things that are happening with him. We have a school we need to preserve because we told him while there that you're not going anywhere. Number one, you're not yet ready to die, so we're not going to watch you die. We're going to pull you out of that. Number two, you're going to finish your school. How this guy, he's a third year, how this guy has done agriculture engineering in 3 years, no repeat, and looking after his family and looking after himself, it just goes beyond me. I couldn't do that. I'm telling you. And it's one of the toughest courses at Bunda. Yeah. Third year. We say, no, you're not dying. My brother, you're not dying. We are holding you here. We will do everything to hold you. So I had asked him that now you've been running away, you have to run no more. Go face those that you owe money. Face them. Talk to your landlord. Talk about a plan. You can't pay all the money you owe him at once. Talk about a plan. If they can agree that they should receive 3 months payment, and then when we are moving forward, every month you'll be paying for that calendar month and 1 month behind. If they can accept that, we can deal with that, number one. Number two, you go to the guy who gave you money, ask him, number one, to stop the interest. It's not fair. Because he won't have his money anyway if you die. So he better accept that. Stop the interest. And if you stop the interest, then let's agree on how we're going to pay the bank. So he went there, and I said, the first thing that you have to start taking responsibility for your life, talk to these people. And he went and talked to them. By Friday, he had talked to them. So I wired part of the money to him and said, you're going to pay this guy and these renters. So he has sorted them out. But there is something unique about his life, which we are also interested in, and wherever interested is his entrepreneurial heart on the other side. He had made a couple of mistakes in business, but we don't want him to repeat that. He had trusted most of his money into the hands of other people when the things are not properly developed, and he didn't know how the Kabaza business works. And he gets the motorcycles to the people and the bicycles to the people. So he didn't know how. He just, sometimes you make simple calculations. No, buy that taxi, then you'll be moving a limb, brother. By the end of the day, 15p. Ask Mr. Dunga if it's as straightforward as that. So you see, we make those simple mistakes and then end up losing money. So we are going to train him, because me and Mervin have been together for a while. I've been training him for a while, so he knows my style of doing things. And then we're helping Henderson to make sure that he's properly taken care of. So this hasn't come back, right? Okay. All right, no problem. Okay. Now, the reason I've told you the story is because there are so many things that are encompassed in those stories. You understand that? Other than the fact that there's been a privilege of having a testimony from one that translates into another, you may not know how much your story can be an empowering story to another person. You underrate yourself. But at the same time, I think one of the things we learned is that Henderson is a bit more reserved and quiet, so doesn't talk a lot. It's easier for him to commit suicide in that space because, sometimes when challenges come, 3 or 4 things at the same time, it's easier for you to think, I have no another option but to depart. But then by bringing another person who has fresh things, and then talking to him and covering him up, you need to be brothers keepers and sisters keepers, because people are facing real things. And don't underrate anything. You see, the reason actually I had to bring in Evelyn is because I would easily undermine a couple of things that Henderson was going through, because part of those things I've never gone through. And bringing his friend who's gone through some of that was quite helpful. Very, very helpful. So it was a student-to-student kind of initiative and support. Are we together? Well, things that I consider quite critical when you're thinking about what's the meaning of life. I mean, I don't know the meaning of life. I have not even figured it out. In fact, somebody was saying high expectation is to come and learn from people who have made it. I haven't made it yet, so please, you may not learn a lot from me, okay? Maybe Mr. Dunga and Dr. Alice, all right? I said people who have made it. I haven't made it yet. I'm still figuring it out. However, I think 4 things that have helped me. Number 1, I think to find God.
really my place of faith is a critical part of my life. It's helped me to have a sense of stability, a sense of a place where I refer when I'm doing things. My reference point, pivotal point, is my faith. So I've worked hard to ground myself in that place. That's important. Number two is to find my passion. To find my passion. While Dr. Alice talked about purpose, it's the same thing. Find something that you are here for. Find your passion. And then number three, I say you must serve your family with your passion. And number four, you must serve humanity with your passion. I think in these things you can find meaning. Much as I haven't figured it out, I'm doing these things. And I'm working hard. Keeping on in terms of finding God. But again, finding and building my passion, and serving family with my passion, and serving humanity with it. What will you learn from those two friends that we have shared their stories about? And thanks to Irving and Henderson for allowing that we should share their stories. We don't take it for granted. We understand the importance and how dear these stories are to them, and sharing them, and them giving us permission to share them is something else we greatly not take for granted. And so the lessons that I've learned is that number one, leadership came to all of them inevitably. Both of them ended up into positions of leadership without a choice. The other one, the father has gotten into a problem. He can't work, he can't provide for the house. He has to rise up and provide for the house. The other one, things are not okay. The father passes away. He has to rise up and become my father of the house. All of them at a younger age. So leadership came inevitably. But we also see both of them, entrepreneurship came as a result of necessity. To them, to be an entrepreneur is just about necessity. Not when I get to go to entrepreneur, you come to Efaction to learn. Some of these guys don't even know Efaction. They don't even have any lessons. They haven't read the book Grit. But Grit has found them. They just have no choice. You understand that? Are you with me? Yes. And so, entrepreneurship for them has come as a result of necessity. Giving up was an option at some point, but had to be set aside. And they both had compelling reasons not to give up. Let me tell you something about Elvin. On Tuesday, and he was telling us on Wednesday, on Tuesday, his younger sister, who is in secondary school, called him. And she calls, and she's crying on the other side of the phone. What's going on? The girl is just crying. The girl is just crying. And then at the end of crying was Sima, and then she says, Elvin, I just wanted to say I love you. He says, really? He said, yes. I just wanted to say I love you. We don't know where we could be and what we would have done if you didn't stand up in our families. Hey. That was touching for me. We don't know where we could have been. No. You're talking to a 23-year-old. A week prior to that conversation, the sister had come from school. Had eye problems. She couldn't concentrate, she couldn't read, she couldn't see the blackboard, and then she had to come back from the boarding, come home, and Elvin had to meet her. What do? We can't go to a public hospital because it's going to take long for you to get your classes and go back to school, because she's remaining with 2 weeks to start her mock exams. He said, I will take you to a private facility. So they went to a private. He had produced 85,000, 75,000 to pay for the classes. And the sister had glasses. She was checked properly, and she went back to school. And so she had been thinking about this and said, oh, no. Yes, he's paying fees, he's doing this, that's okay. But he's having too much. So she couldn't hold it. But I thank God for her as well, because, you know, some certain people can receive such type of support and they don't appreciate it. Some of us are like that. We have parents that are going through hell just to put a fees and a pocket money to us. See what we do with that. She's appreciative of the effort of the brother who has come to stand in that family against the odds. And so possibly to me, I feel if there was somebody else or some people that could be better to speak to you, these are the kind. Sometimes I feel myself not worthy. When I hear stories of this sort, I say, guys, you are the best ones to talk to people because of what you've gone through. They both had compelling reasons not to give up. They had to rise up and say, we're not going to give up. You see, in recent days, we are seeing a lot of suicides taking place, especially in the colleges, due to grades. Grades, relationships, and some other things. I want you, we don't downplay on these things, but you have to look at life from a bigger perspective. People are starting all over again in life. People are starting all over again. If they withdraw you, it doesn't mean that's the end of your life. People are starting all over again. The guy we are talking about had a diploma in IT, but had to go back to class to write exams and go back to college. And he's in 30, he has to carry all this responsibility. And you have to look beyond just you. Yeah, when those thoughts are coming to you, look beyond you. People are starting all over again in life. Are you with me? Write your own story and say, I was withdrawn here, I went to another place, they also withdrew me, I went to another place, I went to 5 colleges and I made it. Yeah. And write a book. And don't give up. One moment. No. Don't give up. Are we together? But it's interesting, they looked for solutions outside of themselves. This is what interesting. They both looked for solutions outside. They realized that we have a problem. As he said, we have no family to go to. You understand that? So they all both realized that we have to find a way. So let me be a guy. It's a solution. Are you with me? It's a solution. You see, life has to place you to a place where you start looking for solutions. Not easy way out, but the best way to deal with things. There are solutions. Don't give up. Don't give up. Because sometimes life is going to be tough. When it comes tough, don't give up. They look for solutions outside of themselves. One had to start teaching and still go with this, finding money, and the other one had to sell his laptop. And from it, business started. And I'm glad that all of them have made help along the way to help them go to the next level. There will always be help coming, but shout, talk to people. You understand that? Henderson decided to go look for prayer, but he has gotten more than prayer. And the next level of us helping him with the debt issues is to make sure that we raise a certain amount of money to give him as part of capital. You talk about setback, he's made it all. He's made it all. But you have dinner with, you want to go to dinner with Evan. He won't tell you about the crying and the challenge. He's going to give you about good things and good stories. The same guy. He has a positive attitude that when you're around him, the energy that exudes out of him is so amazing. Despite all these things that he's gone through. And my relationship is over and then I feel like there's no meaning to live. Think twice. Think it twice. How can you love somebody else, not me? Forget it. True. Start having a bigger life. Because some of these people are going to challenge us in heaven and say, Ish, I'm not going to forget you, see? But these guys have been amazing. So what is it that you have? So challenges should help you to find fuel for the next climb in your life. Because the truth of the matter is that there'll be challenges. And they've told you. And quite interestingly, I think what Mr. Dunga shared about his businesses, which is practical, he's telling us things that has happened. He's telling us things that he has lost. But he said, I will still go on. And there was a moment when he was in a group of other people left. And he continued. Are you with me? So what circumstances will threaten your resolve to achieve greatness? You must always understand and talk about things. I don't have much time, I would have gone deeply into that. But you must find something to drive you forward. 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, I will speak one thing of 4 things that I'm also prepared. God being our helper, I can deal with those things. What I wanted to talk to you in, on this matter was a search progression. I wanted to talk about search progression because it's man's search for meaning. You're trying to search for meaning. So what does this life look like? What is life? I'm still searching for meaning. All right? You see, you will not find the meaning of life if you will not be deliberately strong to overcome the challenges that come. Because the challenges will come. I will not lie to you. Challenges will come. Okay? Yeah. So I was into cow business. So I used to sell meat, beef. So maganika kuchukua kwenda na huko. So pesa panga pack and to sell. I was with my friend Dr. Cornelius, who is your lecturer here. Amazing. Yeah. And we worked, eh? So our doctors at Queens, both of us. So our morning meeting starts at 8. Okay? So 8 we have to be in the handover meeting. But by the time that we are in the handover meeting, we are in our lab courts, we have already been to Chikwawa and back. That was us. We could drive from 3:30 or 4 a.m. going down. And by the time we are hitting 5 o'clock, we have already been to the caller with people, we have talked to the farmers, we have made payment, and we leave the boys and say, boys, you will continue to take this one, that one, take it up. We leave the car there, we go buy another car, we come. The returner remains there, they pick the animals. By the time that is 8 o'clock, we are in the morning meeting, handover meeting, seated, as though we were sleeping like everyone else. Talk about entrepreneurship. And the day came, an animal, a hollow one, died on the way. That was a trouble. And another one died. So if they die, you just have to bend them and all that. But we continued. There were moments when we were about to give up. The strain was too much. So challenges are going to come. But you still have to go on. Because if you don't deal with this, to me, I think if David didn't deal with a lion, if he didn't deal with a bear, he couldn't deal with Goliath. He couldn't deal with him with his own sin in his life. So that he could repent properly. He had to deal with certain challenges for him to surmount energy and fuel for the next challenge. And that gave him encouragement along the way. So you have to keep on searching. So 4 things that I wanted to talk about. Number 1 was the core identification of core competencies. If you're writing, you can put that. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Identification of your core competencies. Number 2, I would have talked deeply about process of growth. Give active time a chance. And number 3, I would have talked about elasticity capacity. Elasticity capacity. Some of us, that's what we need. We need to be a bit elastic. And number 4, I would have talked about growth markers. And so, I will deal with one. I will combine with, so allow me to deal with the core competence identification and elasticity capacity, if you can allow me, because I don't have much time. Because I will do justice. All right? One of the things that I've noted, and I think from what you've learned here about planning, having purpose and everything, one of the things that I in my own work, I've found most of the young people struggle with is to identify their competencies, their core competencies. Now, I'm a believer in school, and I encourage people to not undermine. And I don't like entrepreneurs, and please don't be careless entrepreneurs who come to people and tell them that the school is not important. That's being careless. Don't be an entrepreneur to tell people that the school is not important. That's being careless. Are you with me? Yeah. This thing is important. Yeah. The capital we are having into business is coming from the jobs. It's coming from the career. It's coming from the respect. It's coming from the schools we have done. You understand that? I'm telling you, if I had not gone to school, I wouldn't have met the president. Yeah, I've been to the State House to meet the president. You understand that? It's not because I'm an entrepreneur, I've managed all that. No. I went to school and I occupied a certain position somewhere. And because of that position, I've had access to certain people. And there are certain people I deal with, and certain people because I'm into construction, I build. There are people that I just call in town here. And say, I want iron sheets of so much, and all that. They'll say, Dr. Huwa, we trust you. You can come and just get whatever you want. And I'll go and get. They trust my name. But I'm telling you, it started with school. So nobody should lie to you, and let's not put these things. You understand that? It's a struggle if you haven't. You know, you can be successful as an entrepreneur without school, but it's a struggle. Yeah, it's a struggle. There are so many pieces that are not in line. I'm telling you. So don't undermine this. But within that, identify your core competence. And one of the things that happened in my third year as a medical student was that when I went to the clinical side, you know, I enjoyed the first, second, third year. Pre-med, first year, second year. Basic medical science is beautiful. When I went to the clinical years, I realized that no, this is not for me. And it was clear, I'm just telling you this. I realized that I'm not meant for the bedside. Yeah. And you know my competences? Management leadership. Not cracking and knowing what enzyme is in here. No. That's not my thing. And do you know one thing that happened when I was doing internship? I was loved by many people, not because I was good with the diagnosis and treatment, but management. My wards were mostly clean, and most of the nurses that were working under me were all taken care of. I complimented people a lot. You understand that? And I created the cleaner and made sure that all those that are working with me are properly taken care of. Because you see, that's my strength, that's my competence. I'm a leader, I'm a manager. So it was easier for me to understand how to deal with that. And therefore, when I had finished that, it was easier for me to now start looking into a particular direction I should take. So I went into my first master was leadership and management. I remember talking to one of my professors and we were chatting and he says, Cornelius, what are you doing? And I told him, doing HIV education and management. He said, who does that? I said, Prof, what do you mean? He said, no, you can't do that. Leave this to other people. You go to gynecology or you do surgery. I said, Prof, that's not me. That's not me. I'm not going to do well in that space because that's not my competencies. And so I identified my areas and I've kept on moving with that. That's what's kept me, at least I've worked as CEO for now, maybe my 10th or 11th thing. Because the first one was CEO of Palliative Care Support Trust. Now I'm CEO of the African Enterprise. Currently, working as a regional director for social action. So I work in Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Malawi. So I work in 3 countries. Now, so this week, my boss, who is the regional CEO, called me and sent me a message Tuesday. He's on leave for 1 month. So he said, Cornelius, you're going to be the acting CEO. So now I'm the acting CEO of the region. I'm looking in 3 countries. Now it's not a good thing. Because on Wednesday, emails started coming. So someone in Zambia wants for me to sort out things in Zambia. Someone is calling me in Zimbabwe. I need to sort out a couple of things. And I was saying, is this what it means to be a CEO at this regional level? I'm just having that in 3 or 4 days that I've been acting. It's tough. But it's a good challenge. All right? It's a good challenge. But why we are actually a number of us in the region, country directors, but we also have regional positions. But then I was chosen to take this position. It's because I've built in my area of competence. And so I thought that is going to be important for you to understand that again, while you're seeking your purpose, you're bringing your plans to be smart and everything else, but identify areas of your competence. And then find ways of developing that. What we say is that you must be able to deal with those competencies and put time and resources that will help to develop that area of competence. That's important. You have to find a way of dealing with that, building that. So me, I've built that. He's talked about reading books. Those that possibly receive coaching from me, they know. I recommend certain books. You come to my home, you're going to find the shelf, which is at the close to the dining room, and you see books, but that's not the only shelf in the house. There's another one in the bedroom. That one, books don't come out of that. Yeah, if you say, I wanted it, those books don't come out. Every time I travel, my wife knows this, every time I travel out of the country, I can miss clothes shops. I don't miss bookshops. I go to bookshops and I want to get the best books they have. Because I have to keep on developing me. Yeah, I have to keep on developing me. And then, so again, find who can surround you to help develop that area of competence. Some of the challenges we have is that you have an area of competence, but the people that you are surrounded with, they can't develop, they can't put even a fire to that area. All the friends, they are Arsenal and Man U fans, and your area of competence, you don't have even one person that deals in that area. Now, supporting a team should not be a competence. There's no money. Anybody who is receiving money, Arsenal fans are receiving money in the auditorium. Why do you specialize in that area? And all the time spent in those things. Real power stuff. Real power. Like real Donald Trump, you know? So you can have accounts of that Donald Trump, but there's one that says real Donald Trump. All right. And so that to me is very important. Identify the area, but develop it by material and time, but at the same time, find people surrounding you that could put fire into your thing. I have people I respect. I have my coaches. She's talked about having coaches. I have coaches. I call and we have time on the call or on Zoom, and they speak to my life. I have someone who talks to me in finance. There's somebody also talks to me in terms of family and marriage. There's somebody also talks to me in terms of my career. When I'm making decisions that are career related, there's somebody I call specifically to help me in that area. You can't walk alone. Let me combine that with the elasticity capacity. One of the things that I've identified is that, you see, understand this well, going to school, especially college where you're now studying a particular course, does not mean you don't have to be anything else. So, one of the challenges with many people is that they don't develop capacity to stretch and become more than this area of life where they went to college for. So why should a medical doctor be involved in construction? By the way, I came here at 9 o'clock. You understand that? When I entered, I was wearing a suit. Okay? And a necktie. You understand that? 6 a.m. this morning, I was in my work clothes. I'm sitting at Mount Sochi Hotel. I left the place and I went out. Got into my transportation system and I went to Chileka, where my boys are constructing things there. So I was at the construction site by 6:20 a.m. Are you with me? Yeah. So I worked with the people, I looked at the things and I pointed out a number of things. They told me the things I need, and afterward I left, came back to the hotel to take a bath and put on these clothes. So I was here 9 o'clock. I've made money in the morning. I'm very elastic. Now you talk about Chirungam, if you ask him about, he finds me at a construction site. If I'm with the boys at the construction site, he wants me just sitting somewhere playing with the phone. I push the wheelbarrow. I pick the bricks. I help. I haven't taught my hands just to be so lazy. No. I work here, I also work with my hands. Very elastic. I've helped my life in that area. My interest in terms of business is in real estate, with a number of properties that we've invested in. But another area is agriculture. And buying a agro-based business. One interesting story that I'll close with is when I was, and this is one interesting thing. I was at Metondo, so I buy, during the time of buying crops, I was at Metondo, so I buy crops there. So groundnuts is the big one. And so it was late in the evening, around 5, 6, late afternoon, 5, 6. And then some boys there, so they were giving me the groundnuts, and there was a minibus that came, and they were offloading some groundnuts from the minibus. So when they offloaded, there's this young man coming out of that place, and he's dusty all over the place. And he's there, he's selling to my boys there so that we can pick. So I was putting them into the car to take them to the warehouse. And then he says, are you Dr. Huwa? I said, yes, I am. He said, oh, I know you. I said, oh, that's interesting. And you see, I didn't expect it. And he says to me, he says, oh, by the way, this is my name. So because this guy, I didn't ask him, I won't tell the name. If he's here, he might possibly shout. But he says, I'm a student at College of Medicine. I said, Julie, now when I hear that and I see that, my eyes go up. I said, what? He's so into the dust and dirt, and he's coming from deep down into the villages. That's where he was coming from. And he says to me, he says, during the holidays, when I come from school, I ask my sister to borrow me her minibus, and I use it to go and find groundnuts from the villages. And I use that. So when I'm going back to school, I have my own pocket money, I have money to do other things, and I make that by myself. That's what I mean when I talk about elasticity, capacity. People that are capable of stretching and do more. What do you do on holiday? Cartoons and everything. Some of you are still laughing at those films that people just laugh. You watch those things, isn't it? People just laugh. You have to find a way. So these boys are now mixing. So when I was there past 6, I found this guy is our mixer cement. I said, wow. I'm telling you. By the way, I didn't warn them. I can go sitting and run that will kill. And I saw them, I said, okay, good. Now you're not lying to me, they're working. So I'll pay them. They have to start buying their bed and their mattress. We're not joking at home. I don't know where you're coming from, but at our home, no jokes. Yeah, a graduate coming at home, TV home. Are we together? I hope these things have helped you. We are hoping that as time will allow in the future, we'll be able to have more things to discuss. Let's cover.